Hi guys, welcome back. So now we've got your face looking flawless. The base is done. We've got concealer, we got powder. We're ready to move on to the eyes. So as one of my favorite people likes to say, a little glitter can turn your whole day around. So today we're gonna do full-on glitter eyes. So this is one of my favorite looks that I've been doing recently. It's warm, it's sparkly, but it's pretty easy. So we're gonna start with, I think, well, we're going to use both of my two favorite palettes from this last year, from 2017. We're going to use them both in this tutorial. So this one is fantastic. It's overhyped for a reason. It is a Miss Jaclyn Hill's palette with Morphe. This guy is amazing. So this is actually a new one, brand new in the box. I didn't want to totally gross you out, so I pulled a new one out of the drawer because, like, y'all know I bought backups because I'm a little bit of a hoarder. So this is a brand spanking new. Look at this. White, clean, beautiful. I haven't seen anything. It hasn't looked this gorgeous since it was new. Because the one that I use literally every day, it's looking really messy. I've hit pan on quite a few of these guys. I've hit, especially these guys, these browns. I've hit pan. It does not look like this. So I was like, I'm not going to gross you out. So I'm going to get a new one. So we're going to use this guy. Like I said, probably #1 favorite palette of 2017. And then we're also going to use this one. This is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes, which is probably my second favorite palette of 2017. It's awesome. It's beautiful. Has such great warm tone. If I can open it. There we go. Such beautiful warm tone shades, and they're all matte because, you know, I love me an all matte eye. Today I know we're doing like super glitter, but in general I just love an all matte look. So we're gonna start with Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm gonna go in with a couple of the different shades. So we're gonna go first on a bigger fluffy brush. So this is the Morphe R37. It's a really great, just dense blending brush. I'm gonna go in with the shades, let's see here, Silk Cream and MFEO. Yes, I'm using the reference. So that's going to be these two right here. Oh, this is really large. Silk Cream and MFEO. So I've already set to my eye shadow primer / concealer down with just regular powder. But I'm going to set this in to add like a little base and give it a little bit more color. So this I'm just going to work into the eye really fast, quick, all over, literally from lash line up to brow bone, because this is pretty much my skin tone. If you're lighter than me, if you're darker than me, maybe you want to go a little bit, like, be a little more careful. I'm just going so fast and like crazy. But it puts a nice base down, so my eyes are not looking quite so white from the powder or anything with the concealer, so everything else blends well. Okay, so now we've got that down. I'm going to move on and I'm going to use some of these other colors. So I'm going to start with butter mixed with a little bit of creamsicle. So this is butter with just a tiny bit of creamsicle on this same R37 brush. I think it's R37. It's starting to get a little worn off because this is like my favorite. I use it every day to start my look. So I'm going to start with butter with just, I'll take like two dabs of butter, dab, and then like 1 dab of creamsicle. So this is like a new thing that I just started doing. It adds a little bit more warmth and depth to the color of the brown to add a little bit of the yellow in there. So this I'm going to start working it from the outer corner and then really start building this in all the way into the inner corner, kind of just, but keeping it in windshield wiper motions on that crease. Kind of going above the crease. I have slightly hooded eyes. I mean, they're not super hooded, but they're definitely hooded. So I go above my crease, especially with this nice first color. It's a nice transition shade, as they like to call it. So I'm going to start just working that in, windshield wiper motions, starting to build up a little of that brown, but also keeping it the warmth to it with that creamsicle. Okay. I think that's looking pretty good. So now we've got that worked on. We've got that nice base kind of set down. You can see how it's warm, but I've gone quite a bit. So here's my brow bone. I've gone a little bit above my brow bone. I stop at maybe midway between my brow bone, just here, and my eyebrow, my actual like brow bone. This is the eye socket bone. I don't know if that's the second, but like the eye socket bone and then the brow bone. So kind of halfway through, I'll take that color up just to get a nice color down. So then I'm going to go into it's like my favorite color in this palette. It's probably really weird that this is like my favorite color in this palette. So this guy right here, this is called Peachy. Yeah, it's kind of like a pukey brown, but it's my favorite color in the palette. I couldn't tell you why. So I'm going to start working this kind of in the same motion that we did with the first two like brown shades, or the brown and the creamsicle. But keep this down a little bit lower. I'm really going to kind of focus it on this outer corner and then build it up into that crease right there. You can see how that's starting to just darken everything up and really build up that color in the crease. Do you ever forget to breathe when you're doing your eyeshadow? Sometimes I'm just here, I'm like blending and I'm so intense, and then I was like, I forgot I was like holding my breath this whole time. All right. So I feel like that's pretty good. It has a nice wash of color. You can start seeing a little bit more depth, especially in the crease and in this outer V. So that's really great. So now, since we are using the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm going to take a little technique that I used from Miss Jaclyn Hill herself. And it's kind of a way to do, so some people use tape and will actually like tape a line. I've done that. It's fine. It works. But since we're using the Jaclyn Hill palette, we're going to use a Jaclyn Hill technique. So this is, I'm going to kind of do like a tape line, but with powder. So this I'm going to take is the Wowder by Glossier. This is in the color Deep Dark. It's this darker brown color. I also have the light medium, which I use on the rest of my face. This is too dark for me to set my face or even touch up with my face with. But sometimes I feel like since I do have really dry under eyes and like eye areas, if I do this technique, Jaclyn Hill uses the RCMA no color powder. When she does this technique, I have that, I've used that. That powder is way too white for me. It's just, it's like a ghostly cast when I do it. So I will take the Wowder, and then I'm gonna take this. This is the Morphe Y12 brush. It's like a really flat brush. I'm gonna dip it in the Wowder so it creates like a half line. Can you see how there's like powder on half of the brush? And then I'm gonna try to start carving out where I want the shadow. So I'm gonna start with my lower lash line and just press this in, creating a line of powder from my lower lash line up to kind of my hairline. I go all the way because I tend to go overboard with powder or with shadows, and so really put a lot of the powder down. If it falls down, that's fine. You can brush it away. See, I'm starting to get a little bit of fallout, but not really fallout. It's just extra powder kind of here, but that's okay. It'll help if there is any fallout with the shadows. It helps like catch it and not stain your face with extra shadows, because I do like to do my foundation first and then do my eyeshadow, so this helps with the fallout. So now you got a nice line. You probably can't really see it, especially with how bright these beauty lights are, but I think it's better because it doesn't create that like white cast. You can use any powder you want, like any setting powder that you have, you can use it. I just like using this darker shade Wowder because it doesn't create that white cast. So anyway, so now we've got that done. Time to start moving on to some brighter colors. I'm gonna wipe away, because that you can see, I just wiped away the fallout. I still left the line of powder that I put down, but I wiped away all the fallout of that powder. So now we're gonna start moving on to some color. So I'm gonna move on to the Just Peachy Mattes palette, and I'm gonna take this on, let's see here. Which brush do I want? I think I'm going to start with a Morphe M513. Again, this is a nice full brush. And I'm going to go in with some Fresh Picked and some Peach Tea. So I'm going to kind of go in the same location I was going with that Peachy color from the Jaclyn Hill palette. And again, just kind of darkening up that crease, but starting to add a little bit more warmth because all of these in the Just Peach palette have those really great warm undertones. So just windshield wiper motions on both of these guys. Keeping it nice and tight right there in that crease. If it goes a little bit above, that's fine. I'm not super picky or like precise. I don't know, I just do whatever when it comes to eyeshadow. So I'm going to move on to my favorite color in this palette. Well, Peach Cobbler and Peach Punch, they're both awesome. So we're going to move on to Peach Cobbler, which is this guy right here. It's at the top. It's this beautiful, beautiful kind of almost terracotta color, but it's a little bit lighter. It's not quite so orange, but it's just a really, really beautiful, rich peach color. I just love it. I love this color. And so I'm going to just work that in again to the crease. Not going all the way to my inner corner with the crease, kind of stopping maybe midway with this color, trying to keep the darker colors on the outside. And then this one I'm also starting to work down into this V and on the outer portion of my lid with this guy. Kind of using the flat side of the brush and just pressing that color in. Just press, 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 press. And again, just kind of working this guy up and into the crease, but keeping it a lot lower than any of the other colors. Alright, so now we got a nice base starting down here. I'm gonna really quickly hop back into the Jaclyn Hill palette. There is a brown in the Peachy palette, but it's fine. It's a fine color brown. I don't love it. I don't dislike it. It's fine. So now I'm going to take my favorite my trusty M433, and I'm going to go into this color brown, which if you're looking at the palette from here, it's the one that's in the second to the bottom row all the way out on the side. I believe that color is called Mocha. It's like one of my favorite brown colors. It's a really great deep brown, but it still has enough like warmth to it that it can work well with a warm tone eye. So this I'm going to start and really keep this low and concentrated right there in that outer V. And again, I'm going to use the same technique, kind of rolling the brush between my fingers to work it up into that crease, but keeping it very controlled. You want the color to stay concentrated in this outer V portion of the eye. Just really working that in. Okay, so now you can see how there's a really great kind of gradient from like dark brown up to like the lighter brown, but still having that warmth to it throughout the entire eye. So now we're going to hop back into the Just Peach palette, and I'm really going to warm this guy up a lot. So I'm going to take a clean M433, so another M433, and I'm going to go in on this Peach Sangria and this Just Ripe. So these two kind of reddish colors, Peach Sangria and Just Ripe. And I'm going to go exactly where I did with the brown color and work these in, staying low and in that like outer V and into the outer portion of the crease. to just go over that brown, but giving it a tinge of kind of a pinky red undertone. So it's still very dark, but just with a little bit of red, and a little red tone to it. And then taking some of this on the flat part of the brush, and again, pressing it kind of like we did with that first peach cobbler color, but pressing it just on the outside to really make sure the color lays down and is nice and rich and intense. And then working it in. There we go. So I'm going to go back to my very first brush. This is the R37. I'm going to take some more of this this peach tea and this fresh picked color, and then a little bit of just peachy. So basically I'm going to kind of just mix very lightly this whole row. So 1, 2, 3. And kind of just work that in to make sure it's all incorporated and everything is well blended. There aren't any harsh lines and everything looks like it's just flowing together seamlessly. So then finally I'm going to go back in with this M433 that I had the peach sangria. I'm going to get a little more peach sangria and a little bit of peach punch, sorry. This peach sangria and then a little peach punch, which is the really, really bright, almost neon pinky peach color. Tapping off the excess because it's really bright. And again, working that into the crease just to darken it up a little bit. And finally going back in with the brown, I'm going to use a little peach tart, just a little bit. So peach tart, this nice rich brown color with a little bit of this guy, which is chocolate peach, and just keeping that very, very close to that outer V, just to make sure everything's smoky and dark, and really just working that in just to darken it up. Bring some of that brown back that we kind of lost going in with the pinks and the reds. Because you still want to kind of have that dark smoky look to it. But again, very, very tight, very controlled. Not letting this brown get out of hand. And there you have it. So I think that looks really pretty. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take my big fluffy brush and I'm going to wipe away this powder that I used to cut the side of my eye. So you can see a little bit of a shadow, maybe you can see a little bit of a shadow of where that is. So I'm going to brush that away. And I'm going to go back in with, this is one of my favorite brushes. Where is it? It's from the gold collection. Here we go. So this is the Morphe Y17 brush. I'm going to take this with my favorite peach cobbler, mix with just a little bit of this peach tart. And so we're going to go, too many brushes in my hand. Peach cobbler with a little peach tart. Tap off the excess, and I'm going to run this right underneath my lash line to kind of incorporate all of those colors from the upper lash line, the actual eyelid, onto the lower lash line. I love this. It's a really great pointed blending brush. There we go. And I'm going to take another one. So this is the Morphe Y23. It's a flat angled brush. I think you can use it for eyeshadow or eyeliner, or you can probably use it as a brow brush. I like to use it to run color right underneath my lower lash line. So I'm going to go in with a little peach sangria and a little bit of the peach tart. So I'm going with this dark red and this dark brown, and just running this on the outside of my lower lash line to really incorporate some of that red but keeping it super close to the lash line. Because we don't want to look like we have raccoon eyes. We don't want to look like super tired. We just went through all the trouble of highlighting and concealing to keep the darkness under our eyes, but then we're putting it all back in with eyeshadow. So kind of just patting it in and dragging it up. Another great technique that I like to do is if the shadow line's a little bit messy or whatever, you kind of can start from this lower lash line and drag it out to kind of where the crease ends, and then use it to draw in your like shadow cat eye liner to kind of bring it out to a point and really make sure that's well defined and everything is looking sharp. And also tying the upper lashes and the lower lash line together. Alright, so now you've got your base down. We need a little bit of glitter, because what's wrong with sparkle? So we're gonna go in with some of my absolute favorite loose glitter right now. This is the Artist Couture Jackie Aina collab. It's amazing, and this is in the color LeBronze. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab, you can use this without glitter glue. I like it with glitter glue just because you want to make sure that everything is locked in place and going to last all day. So this is the Too Faced glitter glue. I'm going to take this and put a little dot on one of the fingers of my left hand, just like a little tiny bit, like less than like pea size, like tiniest little amount. Make sure that I got some, oh, it's not going to open. You got to open the little like sifter. The sifter thing. I'm gonna like shake out a tiny bit. So I have some now in my little sifter, and I'm gonna grab my mirror so I can see up close and personal what I'm doing. So I'm gonna take on my right hand. I'm gonna just use my other finger to pat this glitter glue right on the inner portion of my eye, kind of going towards the middle. So now we've got that down. I'm going to take a nice flat definer brush. So I have this, this is the Zoya, I don't know, whatever. I've never heard of this brand. I think I got it from Amazon or something. It's a flat definer brush. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to tap in to my LeBronze, and I'm going to pick up quite a bit, and I'm going to put it on the back of my hand, just because it makes it easier to work from my hand than it is working from like the container. So now that I've got my LeBronze on my hand, pick up my mirror again. I'm going to work from the back of my hand and then just pat this in, this inner part of my eye, right where I got the glitter glue. Oh, yes. Oh, this is so beautiful. I love this color. It's so beautiful. And with the glitter glue, it really looks quite foiled, and it's so much opacity. You don't really need, if you wanted to do a cut crease, you could, but you don't have to with this glitter, because it's just, oh, it's beautiful. But I'm stopping right at the crease to make it kind of like the illusion of a cut crease. Can you see that? And then again, kind of stopping at the midpoint of my eye. So I'm going to go back in. This is the Morphe M513, the one that I used with this peach cobbler and a little bit of peach. So I'm going to take peach cobbler and a little bit peach punch. And I'm going to pat that right at the edge between where the shadow is and where the glitter is to really incorporate it. And then work it up into the crease. Just make sure everything is all incorporated. You don't see like a really harsh line between the shadow and the glitter. And then if you want to darken it up just a little bit, you can go back in. I dropped the brush. Go back a little bit in with the dark brown, like the peach tart, or you can use the mocha from the Jaclyn Hill palette. And then again, just darken up that outer corner if you want. Making sure everything is all tied together. And then because no look is really complete without a good inner corner highlight or a brow bone highlight, we're going to take the new LeBron's little sister. This is La Peach, which is a champagne sparkly gold color. It's a lot lighter. The bronze is bronze, which is a really beautiful bronze. Where is the sifter? Here we go. The peach is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful champagne. Okay, let me close the sifter because I got a lot in the lid. It's this beautiful champagne color. So pretty. So I'm going to take this on a really, really small tiny brush. So this is the Morphe E36. It's a really, really small detail brush. So I'm going to take this and just put this right in my inner corner. Making sure to blend it kind of down into that lower lash line and also into the LeBron's color to marry the two together. And then whatever's left, I'll just work on to my brow bone. Because I like a good brow bone highlight, but I don't want it to be like in your face like crazy. Yeah, there we go. And then very, very last step, I've been actually using eyeshadow. I've been using eyeshadow for liner recently. I haven't been using gel or liquid eyeliner, so I'm going to take my favorite black eyeshadow, which is the Huda Beauty Smokey Obsessions. So I'm going to grab this palette, and then I'm going to grab my trusty definer brush. If I can find it. Where is it? I know I washed it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. So this is the Morphe M432. It's a flat definer brush. And I'm going to work this starting on the lower lash line on the outer portion just to keep the dark black color in the outer portion of the eye. And then working it onto the lid. Awesome. Okay, so now we're done with that. The eyes are pretty much done. They're looking nice and smoky and glittery. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to very, very quickly just do my eyebrows. I'm going to take, this is the IT Cosmetics Brow Power eye pencil. This is in the universal color, which I don't know how universal it really is. I have like dark brown hair, it works. I like because it's a little bit thick, you can go quick and fast. So I like to warm it up on the back of my hand. Just to get it, because it's a little bit thick. It's a little, or like hard to start using. So I like to warm it up. And then I'll take just a mirror so I can look a little closer. My eyebrows are pretty full. This one I kind of messed up the shape. I always mess up the shape. So I kind of just start here at the bottom, draw a couple quick lines upwards to kind of recreate the stroke and fill it in, the stroke of the eyebrow hairs. Kind of fill it in and then just quickly outline the shape. And then the same with the other one. That's pretty good. So now I'm going to flip this around. Has a nice little spoolie on the back. Just kind of comb through the eyebrows. And then finally I'm going to take, this is the Benefit Gimme Brow. This is in the color or the shade 3, and just very quickly kind of comb through the hairs. I like doing my eyebrows after I finished my eyeshadow, just so in case I get a little too wild when I'm either doing my mascara, or not my mascara, doing my foundation or the powder or my eyeshadow and get a little too wild with the powder. This just makes sure to get all of that out. So there we have it. Eyebrows are done. They're looking awesome. So now I'm going to move on and do eyelashes. So for this look, since it's a little bit bolder, smokier, I'm going to go for a very full lash today. So today I'm going to be using, this is the Sephora House of Lashes collection. This is in the style Timeless. These are very full, long, lush eyelashes. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit of mascara to kind of tie the lashes together and make sure everything's looking black. So I'm going to go in, this is the Benefit Roller Lash. I really like this one because it's super lengthening. So I'm going to go in and just put a really quick coat on my upper lashes and my lower lashes. Okay, I'm back. I now have the lashes fully on both eyes, and this is the finished eye look. It's warm, it's smoky, it's sparkly, and I love these lashes. They're so full and voluminous. So that's the look. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.